You bite into something and your mouth catches fire. Your eyes water, your nose runs, your heart races, your whole face turns red, and then somehow you go back for more. Not because you had to, not because you were starving, not because there was nothing else to eat. You did it on purpose. You wanted this. Every single day, over 3 billion people on this planet willingly eat food that causes them physical pain. And the strangest part, they enjoy it. Most people think it's just about taste, about flavor, about culture. But that's not even close to the full story. Because when scientists started looking at why humans eat spicy food, they found something they didn't expect. The answer wasn't in the tongue, it wasn't in the stomach. It was deep inside your brain, in the same system that controls fear and pain and survival. And it tells you something wild about who you actually are. Stay till the end, because the last part will completely change how you think about every spicy meal you've ever eaten. So let's go back to the beginning. You are standing in a market somewhere in Mexico. The year is 1912. A chemist named Wilbur Scoville is about to change the way we understand heat forever. He has a problem. He needs to measure how spicy a chili pepper actually is. So he does something almost absurdly simple. He dissolves pepper extract into sugar water, then he has human tasters drink it. He keeps diluting it over and over until they can't feel the burn anymore. The number of times he had to dilute it, that became the heat score. He called it the Scoville scale. A bell pepper scores 0. A jalapeno hits around 5,000. A Carolina Reaper, the hottest pepper ever recorded, clears 2 million. But here's the thing Scoville didn't fully understand at the time. He was measuring something that isn't actually a flavor at all. Spicy food doesn't taste hot. It makes you feel hot. And that difference, that is everything. The chemical behind the burn is called capsaicin. It's found in chili peppers in different concentrations. That's why some peppers tingle and some destroy you. But capsaicin isn't doing anything to your taste buds. It's doing something to your pain receptors. Specifically, it latches onto a receptor in your mouth and throat called TRPV1. Now, TRPV1 has one job. It detects dangerous heat, real heat, the kind that burns skin and tissue. It sends one signal to the brain, danger, heat, pull away. But capsaicin fools it completely. Your mouth is not actually on fire. The temperature has not changed at all, but your brain has received the exact same signal it would get if you had just burned yourself, and your brain believes it. That is why your eyes water, why you sweat, why your heart races. Your body is running a full emergency response to a threat that doesn't exist. Now, here is where it gets genuinely strange. Your brain, when it thinks you're in pain, releases a flood of chemicals to deal with it. Endorphins, dopamine. These are your body's natural painkillers, your built-in reward system. The same chemicals that surge during exercise, during laughter, during moments of real joy. Your brain is trying to save you from a fire that isn't real. And in doing so, it accidentally gets you high. Not metaphorically, literally. A measurable chemical rush. That buzz you feel after something incredibly spicy, that warmth and glow that spreads through your chest, that's your own brain flooding you with feel-good chemicals. You ate pain, and your brain rewarded you for surviving it. But here's what's fascinating. Not all animals do this. In fact, humans are almost completely alone in voluntarily eating things that cause pain. Scientists at the Monell Chemical Senses Center ran experiments where they fed capsaicin to rats. The rats hated it. They avoided it. Every single time. You can condition a rat to like almost anything with the right training, but not this. Even with rewards, even with hunger, even after long exposure. The rats never learned to enjoy the burn. This is a huge clue because it tells you that the love of spice isn't just automatic. It isn't just biology in the simple sense. Something happened, something that made humans override a pain signal and call it pleasure. So what was it? Scientists and anthropologists have been chasing this for decades. And the leading theory is almost poetic. It's called benign masochism. The term was developed by psychologist Paul Rozin at the University of Pennsylvania. He spent years studying why humans seek out experiences that are unpleasant on the surface. Spicy food, sad movies, roller coasters, horror films. His conclusion was this: humans are uniquely capable of knowing that something feels like danger, while also knowing that they are actually safe. And we enjoy the gap between those two things. The brain feels the threat. The rational mind says, "This is fine. You are not dying." And the contrast between those two signals, that's thrilling. A rat can't do this. A dog can't do this. A chimpanzee barely can. But you can. Every single time you reach for the hot sauce, you are doing something cognitively complex. You are playing a trick on your own brain and enjoying the results. And Rosen found something else too. When he tested people who loved spicy food and people who avoided it, the difference wasn't in how much they felt the burn. They felt it equally. The difference was in how they interpreted it. Spice lovers weren't feeling less pain. They had simply learned to tag the signal as exciting instead of threatening. The heat was the same. The story they told themselves about it was different. Imagine that. You are not braver than someone who hates spice. You are just narrating your own experience differently. Now go back even further, before the lab, before Scoville, before hot sauce bottles and chili competitions. Why did humans start eating spicy food at all? Because in the ancient world, before refrigerators, before plastic packaging, food rotted. Meat spoiled, grain went bad. Waterborne bacteria were everywhere, and eating contaminated food didn't just make you sick, it killed you. Researchers Paul Sherman and Jennifer Billing at Cornell University published a landmark study in 1998. They analyzed nearly 5,000 traditional recipes from 36 countries. They looked at the spices used, then they matched those spices against the bacterial threats in each region. The results were clear. In hotter climates, where bacteria multiply faster, food had far more spices. Not randomly, specifically the spices that kill bacteria. Garlic, onion, chili peppers, these weren't just added for taste, they were nature's antibiotics. Capsaicin, the same chemical that fools your pain receptors, also kills or slows the growth of over 24 foodborne bacteria. Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria. Your ancestors didn't know any of those names, but they knew that people who cooked with certain plants stayed healthier, and over generations, the cultures that used these plants survived in greater numbers. They passed down their recipes, their techniques, their love of heat. What you think of as a flavor preference might actually be a survival inheritance. The food that felt exciting was the food that kept your bloodline alive. Now, here's the part that nobody talks about. The spread of spicy food wasn't just biology. It was one of the most violent and world-altering events in human history. Before the 15th century, spices were almost impossible to get outside of Asia and the Americas. They were so rare, so valuable that they were used as currency. A handful of peppercorns could buy property in medieval Europe. Countries went to war over the spice trade. Vasco da Gama sailed around Africa in 1498 specifically to find a sea route to the spice markets of India. Christopher Columbus was trying to find a faster route to Asian spices when he accidentally hit the Americas in 1492. The entire colonial era, the redrawing of the world map, the displacement of entire civilizations was partly motivated by the human need for flavor, for heat, for spice, for that same chemical that fools your pain receptors. Think about that the next time you shake red pepper flakes onto your pizza. But the story doesn't stop there, because once spicy foods began spreading across the globe through trade and colonization, something interesting happened. People in climates that had no tradition of spice started eating it. And they started loving it too, which means this isn't only about survival adaptation in hot climates. Something else is happening, something more universal. Researchers today believe there are multiple overlapping reasons humans love spice. One is the endorphin rush, the brain's reward system being triggered by a fake threat. One is the survival advantage of antimicrobial spices passed down as cultural taste. One is social. In many cultures, the ability to handle heat is a marker of toughness, group belonging, shared experience. You bond with people over heat. You prove something about yourself. Think about the last time you did a spicy food challenge with someone, or watched someone else take one. There's a reason it's communal, there's a reason it's a spectacle. There is also a tolerance effect. The more capsaicin you expose TRPV1 to, the more that receptor downregulates. It becomes less sensitive over time. You literally need more heat to feel the same burn. Just like any other substance that triggers your brain's reward system, spice has tolerance built in. The more you chase it, the more you need. Which means that the person who starts eating mild salsa at 20 and ends up pouring ghost pepper sauce on everything by 40 isn't just being dramatic. Their brain has been chemically recalibrated. They need the heat now because the heat is what normal feels like. And here is the final layer, the part that brings it all back to you. Think about why you first learned to love spicy food. Was it a parent, a partner, a friend, a trip somewhere? Almost certainly it was social, because humans almost never fall in love with capsaicin alone. We fall in love with it in the context of people, of belonging, of memory. The curry that reminds you of home, the hot wings you ate at a game, the noodles you had in a tiny restaurant somewhere you'll never forget. The burn is the trigger, but the love is built on everything around it. That endorphin rush pairs with memory, with warmth, with people. Your brain doesn't just remember the food, it links the heat with every good thing that surrounded it. So every time you reach for the hot sauce now, you're not just chasing flavor, you are chasing a feeling, a person, a moment, a version of yourself. Here is what that means. 3 billion people eating spicy food every day are not being irrational. They are not addicts. They are not thrill seekers in some shallow sense. They are doing something deeply, beautifully human. They are tricking their own brains into joy. They are reenacting an ancient survival instinct that kept their ancestors alive. They are bonding with each other through shared pain. And they are proving, one bite at a time, that humans are the only creature on Earth that can look at something that hurts and decide, yes, again, I want more of that. Every other animal runs from pain. You learned to call it delicious.